Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we're going to begin our second chapter, business strategy and value chain analysis. Alright, we're going to start looking at the organization or institutions or company or any groups of business. We're going to look on the issue of what is business element. Dalam setiap organisasi dia mesti ada business dia kan, business element tu apa. Okay, so business element is basically an infrastructure. What are the things that is necessary to run the business that included in the business. That underlying base or foundation, especially for an organization or a system structure where it's a cohesive whole built up of distinct part. Organisation ni dia ada pembahagian-pembahagian dia. Ada komponen-komponen dia. So, combinations of all of that structure is the organisation, is the business. So, what are those? So, basically kita terbahagi kepada business element antara dua perkara, which is structural and infrastructural. Structurals is basically difficult to change. Struktur je susah nak diubah. Macam struktur rumah, kita tak akan ubah struktur rumah banyak sangat kan. Kalau nak ubah ataupun nak renovate, the structure you must be very careful. Because you have to make sure that the structure will not fall. Takkan runtuh and so on and so forth. So basically structural, difficult to change is the building, equipment, computer systems because of the cost. Banyak issues, for example, cost, financial cost, and so on and so forth. Influence, stakeholders, or regulation, and so on and so forth. And also other capital assets. Another part of business element is what we call infrastructural, which relatively easy to change. For example, people. People in organisation come and go. Dia datang, dia pencen, dia dapat job baru, ditukar tempat kerja, and so on and so forth. Then policy. Policy pun sangat mudah, it's easy to change, especially macam kalau UiTM pun kan, sebabkan COVID ni kita ada banyak perubahan policy. Kan kita rasa sangat terkesan, yang mana selalunya dalam satu tahun polisi itu kita keluar hanya dalam bilangan 4 ke 6 saja, tetapi tahun ni saja, satu semester saja boleh sampai berbelas-belas, 20 pun sampai. So we need this policy to change so that we have a good coordination, we have good understanding on how we're going to execute in times of these changes, in times of changes. And then we also relatively easy to change business rule. And we can also change organizational structure. Banyak factors sebab apa organizational structure, macam carta organisasi lah, for example, carta organisasi, carta fungsi, dia easy to change. Ini mungkin sebab disahkan because of financial factors, because of faktor luaran persekitaran, sebabkan pandemic, kita terpaksa reshuffle, we have to resize the organisation, we have to retrench orang, and so on and so forth. Okay, strategy and organisation. Organisation must work with strategy, otherwise it's just operation as biasa, operation as normal. So strategy development aims at improving the long-term competitiveness of organisation in a way that is sustainable. Organisasi mesti pasang strategi, sebab kalau tak, dia tak berdaya saing. Dia tak boleh nak sustain dalam industri. Kalau tak boleh nak sustain dalam industri, dia tutup lah, which is not very good. The early identification of changing markets and the evaluations of the organization's strength and weakness are important activity. In strategic management, dalam pengurusan strategik, kita mesti kenal pasti apa kekuatan dan kekurangan kita. supaya kita boleh improvise by key from somewhat state yang biasa-biasa ke better state. And then kita kena pasti we have to identify our core competency because that is our strength. Effectiveness, efficiency mesti kena menjadi a good practice in organisation. So in strategic management, we have long-term and short-term strategies, but we use these strategies basically to achieve a sustainable position as in being competitive. Alright. Okay, dalam strategies for competitive advantage, this is our first model. In this chapter, we're gonna learn about 3 models. This is our first model, which is the strategies for competitive advantage, which is a condition or circumstances that put a company in favorable or superior business position. Kena pasang strategi lah kalau nak to become companies that being top of the list, in the industry. So these are the 5 factors that they must focus on. The strategies that must be focused on, and always sentiasa consistently study analisisnya supaya able to keep being competitive. Alright. The first element is cost leadership strategies, differentiation strategies, innovation strategies, operational effectiveness strategies, and customer orientation strategies. So the business process management, BPM, can provide a link between the strategies, goals of a company and the actual work being done. So BPM dilihat sebagai satu a good link in order the strategic goal of the company, antara strategic goal dengan apa yang kita akan operatekan, apa yang akan kita laksanakan. Dia mesti ada good link, right? So there are 4 ways to create competitive advantage. So the first one result in competitive. So ini adalah result in competitive advantage from, for example, we have the low cost and differentiation. For example, alright. Let's look at the first element. Improving responsiveness to customer is 1. Improving efficiency, kecekapan, tak ada delay, tak ada error dalam operation, tak ada delay in operation, tak ada mishap dalam operation, tak ada mismanagement, and so on and so forth. Improving innovation, ada bahagian untuk inovasi, and improving quality. Always do some quality checker. Ini untuk elemen pertama which is differentiation, for example. Okay, so for differentiation and low cost, soalnya kalau differentiation ni kita akan tengok dari segi attractive more buyers by adjusting the price, competitive price. So that's why low cost and differentiation. Alright, so ini adalah model daripada Michael Porter's. Michael Porter's model of generic strategy for competitive advantage ni maksudnya for generic business ni adalah common strategies, amalan biasa strategies yang diguna pakai. Okay. Alright, dengarkan suara saya. The strategies relate to the extent to which the scope of the business activity are narrow versus broad, and the extent to which the business seeks to differentiate the product. So kita tengok dari segi scope, bagaimana kita nak luaskan, bagaimana kita nak put some sort of scope on how kita nak differentiate the product. Apa maksud to differentiate the product? To be more unique, to be more known by our uniqueness. Tapi kita bukan buat benda ni tanpa study. We have to do analysis, we have to do studies of how the market respond customer demand and so on and so forth. Alright, so tujuannya ialah because to find a way achieving a sustainable competitive advantage. So kita kena sentiasa revise our differentiation strategy. Always strategize. It could be in short term as well as to meet the goal in the long term. Okay, so what is competitive advantage mean? Competitive advantage mean is an advantage, kelebihan yang kita ambil over competitors gained by offering customer greater value either by means of lower price or providing greater benefit and service that justify higher price. So ini adalah makna competitive advantage. So generic strategy is actually for being competitive by looking at the lower price with greater services and benefits. Siapa yang berjaya manage this strategy, they probably can lead. Alright, ini adalah the quadric lah, the diagram of Porter model of generic strategies for competitive advantage. So basically kita ada in this quadrant, we have vertical and horizontal. Where the vertical is where the source of competitive advantage, sumber-sumber dia iaitu daripada elemen differentiation and cost, market where the business competes, sama ada dalam bentuk lebih meluas ataupun lebih spesifik, narrow. Dalam quadrant differentiation leadership, dia untuk differentiation tetapi more to broad. Okay. So ini adalah strategies dia. Okay. So kalau untuk differentiation on focus, dia lebih kepada narrow. Okay. Kalau cost, kalau nak lebih kepada meluas, common consumption, common buyer, so we look at cost leadership. Mana price paling kompetitif. You all kan semua suka tengok, pergi visit Shopee, Lazada kan. So you akan compare price. So that is where the category falls into, which is the cost leadership. But if you want to have narrow, you have to cost focus. Cost focus ni macam mana? Dengan differentiation focus. Contohnya sekarang vacuum cleaner. Mana vacuum cleaner yang menjadi pilihan orang ramai sekarang? Vacuum cleaner yang tak ada kuat bunyi, vacuum cleaner yang wireless, vacuum cleaner robotic. So that is focus. Robotic yang boleh set masa, robotic yang boleh set macam-macam lah. So that is cost focus. So yang ni nanti kamu baca Porter's generic dia punya explanation. Okay. So cost leadership basically is to become the lowest cost producer in the industry. Kalau contohnya macam budget airline, mana yang paling kompetitif in our country, for example. Sebelum pandemic ni berlaku lah pandemic COVID-19 ni berlaku, lowest cost producers in the industry. Dalam airline, budget airline, mana airlines yang paling kompetitif? You can think of it. Okay. So the traditional method to achieve this objective is to produce a large scale which enables the business to exploit economic of scale. Economic of scale ni is a proportionate saving in cost gained by an increased level of production. Maksudnya, you ada sekian jumlah duit untuk menghasilkan okay, katakanlah you ada RM30 nak buat kari pap 500 biji. Tapi you cuma perlu tambah lagi RM10 untuk hasilkan 1000 kari pap. So mana you nak invest? RM30 ke RM40? So basically that is economic of scale. Kalau selalunya kita akan go to the most paling banyak bilangan dengan jumlah duit yang kita spend. Okay, so basically that is economic of scale. So a strategy of cost leadership requires close cooperation between all functional areas of a business. to be the lowest cost producer, lowest cost producer, they must look into the several followings: high levels of productivity, high capacity of utilization, use of bargaining power to negotiate the lowest price for production inputs, a lean production methods, effective use of technology in the production process, and access the most effective distribution channel. Alright. Ini penerangan tadilah kepada quadrant tu tadi. Cost focus apa dia, differentiation focus apa dia, differentiation leadership apa dia. So basically you can read it that. Alright. Now, these are the types of strategies. Yang ini pun adalah definition definitions of strategies. So definition ni, okay. So these three types of strategies, kena ingatlah definition dia. What does it mean by business strategy? Business strategy is a long-term plan for the company. Kena ada long-term plan because that is the direction we're going to go. Along the way, we're going to execute the activities that leads toward the goals, and we must check at certain time whether we meet the timeline or not, whether we meet the expectation or not in preparation towards the long-term goal. Functional strategies pula, functional ni is a further develop of the business strategy in segments of the business. Dalam organisation kita ada banyak departments kan, banyak segments. That's what I mean by segment. Bahagian, unit. So setiap unit tu ada functionality dia. So that's what we call it functional strategies. Bahagian IT dia mesti ada functional strategies dia. Bahagian keuangan ada functional strategies dia. Bahagian unit latihan ada dia punya functional strategies dia. Core competency pula is actually the heart of where the organisation, the heart operation of the business. Dekat mana? Kalau kita pengedar stok makanan, so proses pengedaran, penyusunan, organizations of the gudang is the core competency. Kalau kita dalam perkhidmatan, apa dia core competency? Dalam pembuatan, apa core competency dia? Setiap of this business ada dia punya core competency. So you must have a clear understanding of this strategy because it reflects the means, dekat mana dia berada. Ini another example of a top-down model strategies. Ini dalam bentuk hierarchy. So setiap organisation dia mesti ada mission statement dia. Dia mesti ada goals. Dan bila dah berada di ni mission statement kena ada, goals kena ada, dan setiap ni functional strategies dia. Bahagian marketing strategi, functional dia. R&D, operational ni dah bahagian functional strategy. Then dia masuk operation and supply chain decision. So lepas ni kita akan tengok value chain. Value chain ni is the basic of a model of supply chain. Okay. So goals in the other hands are small wins that must be achieved in order to fulfill the higher goal. The higher goal of the entire organization, which is the mission. The goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bounded. Kita panggil dia SMART. Goals are created to achieve the mission statement of the organization. Okay, so these are the supply chain strategies. Ini model yang kedua pula. Ini model yang kedua. Alright, so basically this is a second model, operation and supply chain strategies, where we have the design, operation, and improvement of the operation and supply chain system and processes. Okay, so what what mix of structures and infrastructures. Basic structures, ini definitions of structures lah ya. Basic structure, in a basic supply chain, the lead company forms a series of relationship with companies that buy and sell supplies from each other. Contohnya kita ni kedai runcit. Kita mesti ada supplier kita. Supplier telur dia siapa? Supplier ais siapa? Supplier barang makanan tin siapa? Supplier susu siapa? So each of these people kita kena keep a good relationship with that. Sebab mereka akan keep supplying. But then again, kita pun juga kena tengok who are the new potential supplier. So that is supply chain strategies. However, even though we companies that have access to supplier, they also may face problem caused by fluctuation in supply capacity, delivery, reliability or quality. Katakanlah kita dah supply dengan supplier telur ni agak lama, tetapi lama-lama telur ni makin tak ada quality. It's about to change to a new supplier. Okay, and so on and so forth. Alright, ni agak saya tak adalah plan nak detail sangat lah ya. So kita nak masuk kepada Porter's model of competition. Tadi tu banyak kepada being competitive, ya. Alright.